I thank my friend from Vermont in reclaiming my time. He's exactly right. Let's look at it this way. Does anyone really believe that if a Republican president had helped construct a stimulus package with $800 billion of tax cuts, that we would hear talk about generational debt, and that we would hear talk about not voting for the bill because it increased the national debt? Obviously not. So, Mr. President, despite the claims to the contrary, the issue that most, not all, Republicans have with this package is not that it is too big. Oh, no. That's a Trojan horse. The issue is plain and simple that they don't like investments. They don't like the government to spend money on education and schools. They don't like the federal government to spend money on helping people with their health care. They don't like the government to spend money on transportation, helping rebuild our roads and bridges, or spend money on changing our energy policy so we're not dependent on foreign oil. Oh, no. It's okay to spend money on the military, something I usually support. It's okay to spend money on tax cuts for the very wealthy, but not to help the middle class with health care and education and transportation. That is why we took the majority. That is why we will stay in the majority. Because the average middle-class person knows they don't want a profligate government. They don't want a government that wastes money. Absolutely not. But they want a government that's there for them and makes their lives a little better. And they know that all the hue and cry of generational theft and increasing the national debt is only coming because this stimulus package helps the middle class with smart government programs on education and health care and transportation. It's that simple. My colleagues, this package is very much needed. Without it, we could end up in a Great Depression as the deflationary spiral goes downward. To talk just no, as so many on the other side do, is reminiscent of Herbert Hoover. Back in 1930, there was a recession about the level of this one. And Herbert Hoover said, do nothing. And the recession became a depression. God forbid that happen now. President Obama is struggling mightily to prevent it from happening. He should have broad support from both sides of the aisle because simply this package is a mixture of spending and tax cuts. I think it's 56-44. Because this package has accepted major amendments from the Republican side, the largest of all, the senator from Iowa, a reduction in the alternative minimum tax, something I have long supported. So this is a balanced package. And the horror that the other side shows when the government will get itself involved to help the middle class results in only getting 3 Republican votes. What more do my colleagues want us to do? Do they want a package just of tax cuts only? No help for health care, no help for education, no help for transportation? Do they want a package that is aimed and skewed at the wealthiest among us, who are those who least need the help? We have let them offer amendments. We have accepted a good number of those amendments. And yet, we have 3 votes. We want to be bipartisan. And we understand that both sides mistrust the other. But I would say to my friends, we have reached out, we have accepted suggestions, we have put many tax cuts in this proposal that might not get a majority support on our side alone, in an effort to reach out, even though we think there are better ways to stimulate the economy. When we meet you halfway, don't give us the back of your hand and say it is not bipartisan. Don't say it has to be all our way or 90% our way before we'll vote with you. Don't let the hard right base of this Republican Party keep a stranglehold on you and prevent us from marching forward together. Because the country needs better. The country needs more. The country does need bipartisanship, but more important even than bipartisanship, as very important as that is, it needs help. It needs help to get this economy out of the mess, to create and preserve 3 to 4 million jobs, to put money in the pockets of the middle class, and to rebuild an infrastructure that is aging and hurts our economy long after, God willing, this recession is over. So to my colleagues, please, on the next bill, it's too late for this one, rethink the attitude. We are trying. You've had amendments and amendments. A good number have been accepted. Republican input, albeit from 3, has been large in this package. Join us. We want you to. We're not going to insist on a bill that's 100% spending, just as you shouldn't insist on a bill that's 100% tax cuts. We're not going to insist on a bill that only invests in the things we care about. We'll meet you part of the way. But don't give us the back of your hand, because we have made real efforts. And we know that the arguments about debt and generational theft ring hollow, because you didn't make those arguments once in the last 8 years when the deficit ballooned. A few did. When the deficit ballooned because of spending on the Iraq War and spending on tax cuts largely for the highest income people in America. Mr. President, I hope we pass this package. It is not perfect. I would draw it differently. My colleague from Vermont would draw it differently than I would. But it's sure a lot better than sitting here arguing and doing nothing. The country's in tough shape. We've had the most difficult economic time since the Great Depression. It requires concerted and smart action that President Obama has outlined. Please join us and help us move this country away from the difficult times that we are now in. I yield the floor.
Mr. President.